Welcome to the Vocal Lab podcast with your hosts Shelby Rollins and Jason Catrone, bringing you the best from the music industry. Get ready for first-class conversations packed with exclusive techniques and transformative insights, all designed to help you reach your top note.
Welcome back to today's episode of the Vocal Lab podcast. I'm Shelby Rollins.
I'm Jason Catrone.
And today, our guest of the hour is Erin Kinsey.
Hi.
Hey,
Erin,
it's our first artist spotlight.
Erin's our first
on.
artist. Yes, we've had industry professionals and all sorts of really interesting people that have something to do with music and creativity. But Erin's our first artist.
Yeah.
I'm real
This
excited.
is fun, exciting.
And I'm also just excited for a personal reason. Like, I love Erin like she's a member of my family.
Well, I know. I've had dinner enchiladas with your family.
That's right. She's coming to my house and cook dinner
I've
for
never
her.
done that.
Oh, sorry.
You're missing out,
I
to
should
be honest.
It's good. But Erin and I go way back to probably 2010, which was a real long time ago. And because Erin has been a longtime client of mine.
Yes.
And when I started coaching here in Nashville, Erin was one of the first artists that I started working with within the first year that I started at Brett's studio that Jason and I met through. And it was via Zoom. You were in sixth grade?
Either,
Seventh?
yeah, probably sixth grade.
Sixth grade? And how old are you now? Tell the people.
23.
And you were like, 11 or 12. 11 maybe?
Probably 11.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Which is how old my oldest child is.
It's so crazy.
And that's when I started coaching you. And I just remember...
We love a long-time client.
I know.
Because you really get...
I'm glad.
No, yeah, you just...
It's easier to keep clients than get
Yeah,
new clients.
Well, it totally is.
I mean, in this space, they come and go like flies.
It's just how business goes.
Yeah, and
But-
it's but those long-term ones, you really get to know them, and
Well,
becomes,
Erin
it becomes a really special friendship.
And you were in Texas.
Yeah.
That's where you grew up.
Yes.
Dallas,
So
right?
I'm like from a smaller town east of Dallas, about 30 minutes, called
Yeah.
Rockwall. But Shelby was actually the first person to encourage me to write songs.
No way.
And
It's a good story.
yeah.
It's a good coach.
I had been...
Oh, yeah.
Well, thank you. I feel like it had been a couple months that we had
Yeah.
been working together. I saw Erin every week on Skype.
Well, my
Every
parents, neither one of them are in music like at
Mm-hmm.
all. My mom was a math teacher, and my dad does like finance stuff. So
Okay.
I was getting into music, and they
Mm-hmm.
were looking at me not knowing any earthly idea what to do with me. So, and I loved country music, and so they were like, I don't know, maybe we'll try to get you like a vocal lesson or something. So they got me guitar lessons from the local guitar shop, and then I didn't like the vocal coach there because she was trying to, bless her heart, she wanted me to sing Tomorrow from Annie.
Oh.
And that was the straw.
Tomorrow.
I loved
We've
it for
done
someone else to learn. I was like, what if I want to learn Taylor Swift?
Yeah.
So
no.
somehow my dad came across Brett Manning's page and then saw you being a female. He was like, oh, this is going to be great. So
And it
started
was.
And it was.
And I remember talking
Here we
to
sit.
your dad after probably the first one or two lessons, and he was like, so, I mean, we're not musicians, like, but we think she's pretty good, but we don't know, like, are we really biased? Like, is she any good? And I was like, no, she's really good. I can't believe she's 11. There's something very raw and natural, moldable, creative, teachable, and powerful about her voice, especially not being trained at all. Like, I was super impressed. I loved working with you straight out of the gate. And he was like, okay, cool. So you just tell us what to do. And so a month or two into sessions, because we were doing a lot of like Taylor Swift covers and stuff like that as songs to work on.
Yeah.
And I could tell by Erin's instinctive ability to riff very organically off of an original song.
I hated
or not
singing it
your
the
own
way they
original song.
sang it.
Yes.
I wanted to do something different.
And she did,
That's
and she
cool.
did
Not
it
like other
differently.
girls, you know?
well.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and I was like, there's some non-manufactured instinct here of like riffing creatively. And so finally I was like, do you write? Have you started writing songs or anything like that? And she was like, no. I was like, okay, this is your homework of the week, okay? I want you to start writing a song. And I don't think I gave you hardly any instruction about this. I was just start working on it. Don't worry about how great it is, just start something. And the next week, she comes back to me with a completely finished song called
Mean Girls.
Mean Girls. Okay?
You'll never guess what it was about.
It was
about
not
some
about
mean
the
girls.
nice
About
girls.
Shelby.
It was not about nice girls.
It was not about
Shelby.
me. I mean, it was like middle school life,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so you're
Yeah.
dealing with the mean girls. And I just was shocked because I was like, this is the first song you've ever written? She's like, yeah. Is it good? I was like, surprisingly, yes. It's really good because it just had a lot of the instincts and intuitions of good songwriting in it. And I honestly wasn't expecting it to be amazing, but I was like, all right, write another one for next week. And then she just kept going and going. And now I'm going to hand the reins over to you because I want to hear some of the story. Plus, I would literally pay good money for you to play Mean Girls live at some point in my lifetime.
It haunts me, but I will.
It's so
I'm sure
good. It's so classic.
There is a price that I'm like, absolutely, yes. Well, I remember, I mean, obviously I was pretty young at that time, so like I don't remember exactly how it went down, but I remember thinking, like getting off of the lesson and being like, yeah, I guess you can just write a song. Like
you can just do this.
You can just do that. And I remember sitting in my room and like being like, I guess I'll start here, and the first line will be this. And I remember
You're like, the sun will come out.
I said, oh no, not that. That's already been done. But yeah, I remember just, I mean, like having this pad and this paper and just like writing it down and being like, I guess that kind of rhymes, and it kind of goes through it, and playing it for like my dad, and my dad was like, I'll be right back. And he brought it to my mom, he goes, play it again. And I said, okay. So I played it for my parents. And
because you wrote the guitar part too, you wrote the music, the chords.
Oh, yes.
Yes, you wrote it all.
There are rumors that the chords are the same as our song from Taylor Swift.
Oh, rumors.
They're similar, but
There's
you know what?
a lot of songs that are the same chords.
Three chords and the truth has
right.
always been
That's right.
the saying.
You
It's on
can't,
t-shirts.
You can't copyright a chord progression.
No.
So.
But I remember like trying to take it and do it like, I think maybe I switched like the middle two chords, and I was like, that will work.
Close.
But it's funny how like I felt like I had no idea what I was doing. And I still feel like that writing songs now. I'm like, I guess that's it. Like, there it is. And then I look at like the people I write songs with, and we're like, cool. I guess we'll turn it in and see if we still like it in a week. Like, it really is simple to just like go in and start doing it and like flexing the muscle and like feeling it out. But that's really all you ever do with it. Yeah. I thought at some point like I would feel like I'm doing it more on purpose, but almost those songs that I try to write in that way, like, sound too mathematical.
Yeah.
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 So I don't know. But yeah, I never could have guessed, like, where those little seeds, like, would end up growing into.
Right. Because now, fast forward, and you can fill in the gaps, but fast forward, you have a record deal.
Yeah.
There's publishing involved in that as well. And so tell us a little bit about your present. Like, what is your professional scope right now? And then I'd love to hear you talk a little bit about how you got from Rockwall, Texas on Skype as a 6th grader to record deal in Nashville all these years later.
It's really crazy, and in the last couple months, I've really become a little bit more like sentimental about it, like just thinking back on like how it all happened and not really understanding how it all happened, but all the little pieces that were like put into play that I didn't even realize were gonna come back up later and things like that. But as of right now, I'm working on a new project, and I have a great relationship with my label, and they're really letting me like hold the reins on a lot of the creative direction and song selection, and
which is amazing.
Audio, like sound, sonically wise. My sister picks out all my outfits, and it's crazy to me like how authentic I'm able to be right now. And how that seems to be what's working the best.
Totally.
And there were times in the last like few years where that was not the case. That I was, trying to be what I thought would fit the mold, and that did not go as well.
Yeah, it didn't take off.
Sure.
But talking about the present, like I've never felt more honest in my songs. I've never like felt cuter on stage. I've never felt like I've been more honest like on social media and stuff like that, and it just feels so much more natural, and I feel like I'm actually having real connections with the mostly girls my age on the other side of the screen, or in the crowd.
I think I want you to say that again, because this is what stood out to me, what you just said. You were talking about the time period where you're trying to figure yourself out. You tapped into authenticity, and you've never felt cuter.
Yeah.
That's really amazingly powerful.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't think that's something that's small and to be like thrown out.
No, and I don't think I've ever heard it put that way, especially from a female perspective.
Yeah.
Like through finding your authentic self, you've found the most beautiful version of yourself.
Yeah.
Which makes sense when you say it that
so
way.
Sweet.
Right?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But when you say I've never felt cuter on stage, my mind just went, well, that's how that happened.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I
That's
feel
so
like
cool.
My audience is seeing me for just whatever I am, and because I'm not trying to be someone else, they're not really comparing me to other people.
Yeah.
That is such a good point.
And so, yeah, I mean, I'm a nut on stage. I'm just like, running around the best I can and like messing up my words all the time.
Same.
And like when I
love it.
talk more so than when I sing, thank God. But
Mine's the opposite.
like I just I don't know, it feels like I'm being honest, and so when I mess up or whatever, and also like being in a space where there are a lot of young girls following me.
Yeah.
You mess up, or like one day you don't feel as cute or whatever, and it's crazy how being honest with them in those moments, it's like, this is actually when I get to be the best version of like a role model to them.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so maybe today your makeup didn't turn out the way you wanted, or your outfit isn't looking the way it looked last week or whatever. It's like, still go out there and prance around and sing your little song. Like, it's fine. And it's really helped me like shake off the need to be perfect. I mean, I went on my first couple tours this last year. So
With
I
Restless
went,
Road?
With Restless Road. We went on, maybe like almost 30 dates. And then with Morgan Evans last fall, we had like 22 shows. So it was my first batch of like a lot of shows. And in that many shows, things go wrong.
Sure.
Things like don't go the way
Absolutely.
you wanted them to go.
Right.
And
People get on your nerves.
Oh, people get on. Oh my gosh, me and my band, like we have trauma bonds.
Trauma bonds. I like that.
I'm like, this is not my best version of myself. I'm sorry, but I have nowhere to go. You have nowhere to go. So just get a snack and hope for the best. But it's, I feel like I've learned so much about myself and about like the show, and that like being that even honest person, even when everything is going wrong, like, to have that version of a connection with the audience is just as special as this is exactly what I wanted to do for you guys.
Yeah.
It's different, but it's just as special. So,
And on the audience side, it's like you kind of like it when something goes off script. Because you're like, oh, that was so cool, and nobody thought that was going to happen. It was kind of an accident, and we don't look at it as this big failure, like, oh, you're awful. We usually look at it as something that connects us, just like you said, connects us deeper to that artist than it would have otherwise. Had it
Well,
gone
and that's why
perfectly
they'll
smooth.
leave there and go tell their friends, like, oh, or 2 years later, like, oh, we were at the show when she, like, tripped over that case and like
fell off the
biffed
stage.
it.
Yeah.
Like, but they love those things.
yeah.
Right? It's a way for fans and people who follow what you do to really feel more deeply connected to you, and it feels like a special moment they had together. Right?
It's a human
It'd be
experience.
like, it'd be like us going to get coffee, in the south of France for the summer, and we're like, oh, remember that time we went to the south of France?
Yeah, it's a very
That's
specific
a really
moment.
extreme example of that.
But that's, of course, where your mind goes.
Yeah, it's just where my
I would
mind went.
remember that if we did that.
Right?
I would
Okay,
not forget.
okay, we'll figure this out.
Yeah, use your
Hilarious.
points, your miles or whatever. But yeah, it's. I mean, a big thing too has been in the last couple of years. So fast backwards.
Rewind.
There it is.
Fast backwards.
Rewind. I don't
Yeah,
talk.
trauma bonds.
Fast
Oh my God.
I'm going to start using that. Let's make that a thing.
Fast backwards.
backwards.
Back to the beginning. Well, I started making trips up to Nashville when I
remember that.
was in high school pretty
Yeah.
regularly, and
To write, right? Your dad
write,
was setting
yeah.
up rights for you. I don't even
so-
know how he did that.
through Brett,
Oh, okay.
we met Tom Jackson, who was a performance coach.
He did Taylor Swift's early
Taylor
stuff.
Swift.
Yeah, he's done a whole bunch of stuff. And then he introduced me to a guy named Clay Mills, who
Yes,
still
that's
runs a website called Songtown USA.
Yeah.
You can go and sign up, and they have a bunch of songwriting courses. So I took one of their courses on like melodies, and then I took one on lyrical things, and then like contemporary country. And it was basically just me trying to do everything I could do while being in a small town in Texas.
Yeah.
And then eventually,
Honing the craft.
yeah, just
Yeah.
Well, not
or
only
just
honing
trying
the
to be a
craft.
part of it. Honestly,
Yeah, not only honing the craft, but you and your parents had the foresight to tap into people who are in the space where you want to be,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that
Your
is-
dad is that way.
Yeah, and
He's
that-
big
that
about.
guy.
He always tells me, he's like, you don't have to know what to do. You just have to know someone who does.
that's right. Because
right.
guess
Yeah.
what? Guess what
He's
that allows
right.
you to do? It allows you to jump line.
Yeah.
Right.
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 You most people don't think that way. Most people think like, oh, I shouldn't get ahead of this person. I remember this funny story. So my dad was the mayor my whole life growing up. Right?
No way.
Yeah, and so to this day, I will still find a way to jump in front of the line if it's like a buffet or something, because I grew up, we just always jumped in front of the line because my dad was the mayor. So I don't think anything about
That's
it.
weird. You just shake hands and kiss babies and make your way up to the front.
Now all of a sudden he's first.
Last summer, we were talking about in the previous episode, talking to a client or someone in your seat who did a record with Ty Herndon. I went to his wedding last summer with Bob and a bunch of people, and there was a huge long line in Storm, crazy line to get to the buffet for the food. So
Wedding food lines are the worst.
I look at Bobby.
To be honest,
I look at Bobby and his wife Tammy and another friend that's with us, and I was like, Sandy. I was like, come on, we're not saying this line. Let's go. And they're like, no, we can't do this. I literally go right to the front. I just ease my way in, have a conversation. We got our food and sat down. But
you're talking to them as you're grabbing the plate,
you're
grabbing
outing
your
yourself
fork, getting your food.
well, but
on the podcast,
I'm
people are
actually
going to see you coming now and be like, here comes Jason.
No, I'm actually
I'm blaming him for being strategic.
It's
I'm actually helping
I like
people
it.
jump line, and that's what you did. Right?
Yeah.
We can't collapse time. Well, we can collapse time. We can't change it, right?
Yeah.
And jumping line is a way to collapse time.
Well,
and that's brilliant on your part and your parents.
I think jumping line is one way to say it. I also think it's with like starting to take lessons so young. I didn't have a bunch of bad habits that I had to unlearn.
Absolutely.
So it's the same thing as well as like when I was being taught how to, write a song. I did not have someone saying, just write whatever is on your heart and whatever you write will be perfect. It was like, if it can have like a rhyme scheme, that really helps. Like if it can have a hook at the end, that's in the title, that really helps. Like
but that's another way to jump line, right?
Yeah.
You were ready.
It's strategy.
You worked on
ready
your
earlier
craft.
on,
And you were ready when the moment came to you.
Right.
There are so many artists out there today listening to this podcast even who are dreaming still of doing what they want to do and being in your space, but they're not getting themselves ready to be ready when the time comes. And you did.
I feel like
You're like a case study.
I mean, someone call Harvard.
And now there's so much more I want to talk about. There's more I want to talk about on that point, because you mentioned authenticity and kind of tapping into being yourself. And I remember years ago, you told me, and getting into meetings, whether that was publishing meetings and stuff like that with different people, maybe it was for agencies and stuff, management, and people were kind of surprised when they met you and their feedback was like, wow, you really are the same in person as you are online. And even if you hadn't fully tapped into that, because who you are is really authentic. And I've always said that about you. Whenever I talk about you to other people, it's like, what you see is what you get. You see this girl on Instagram or TikTok, you're going to see that girl in real life. Like, it's going to be the same. And that's why those people have been interested in you from early on in your career, is because of that. You were not trying to have any kind of false pretense. You're just kind of like, what? This is me. And people need to hear that. We talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
Like, if you can just be yourself, that's much more successful of a career path than trying to emulate anybody else, because you will always be compared. And you said that it's like they're not comparing me to somebody else because there's just one of me.
They're like, we've never seen anything like
What
you.
an amazing place to be.
But
That's that small town Texas too, though.
It should come out,
Right?
for sure. But I think like also, growing up, I latched onto music so early that I stopped caring about things that I probably like should have cared about. Like, I never got really into makeup. I never really got into outfits. But I was playing at these small like Opry style venues that are all over Texas.
Right.
So I would go in looking like, I can't believe my mom let me go looking like that. But she's like, that's what you wanted to wear. And
Blue guitar.
And a blue guitar.
It was adorable.
Someone stop her. I put like...
You still have it?
Yes, I put
You have to
stickers
keep your
on it
first guitar.
with...
Mine's back there in that closet.
Mine's totally in my studio back home.
I put stickers on it from Michael's with my name and rhinestones.
Oh, wow.
And it's just, it's a lot.
Right.
But
It's so real, though. It's so... I'm 11. I'm in 6th grade, or as you progressed in middle school. It's perfect.
I feel like my parents just wanted me to love it so bad. And they wanted me to be obsessed with it and keep loving it more than they wanted me to, like, look the part or do it right necessarily or, like, follow certain steps. They were just like, whatever lets you keep loving this the way that you're loving it. And I was lucky to have parents that, I mean, like now I look at them and I'm like, y'all are crazy to think that I could do this. Like what, like you should have stopped me at some point and been like, well, what about like a backup plan? What about school? They never did. My mom and dad both, I ended up graduating high school a year early.
I remember that.
And I only had to take like 2 online classes. It was not like some like big thing. But they were the ones encouraging me to do it. They were like, if you want to graduate early and like go to Nashville, you should do it. And they never put like stops in my path of like where I even had a reason or time to rethink any of it. And then I remember being like a couple months into living in Nashville and being like, how did this happen? How did I get here? Like, what is going on? Why are y'all letting me live here? And they let me use the college fund to like buy groceries and like pay for gas. And
It's amazing.
because obviously you don't make any money for a really long time.
And they did it all without being like stage mom type people either.
Yeah.
It wasn't like push you into something because they're the stage parents. It was encouraging you to just pursue your passion.
Yeah, they just wanted me to love it.
That's
And
how
that's
my
so
parents
brilliant.
were.
And I
That's
think
literally how my parents
I
were.
really
there's a
got lucky.
connection. I mean, I'm sure you've probably thought about this, but there's a connection between the mindset that they instilled in you of not putting the obstacle in it and pursuing it because you love it and whatever it takes to keep you in the passion zone.
Yeah.
And what you said a few minutes ago about how now in the situation with your label, they have given you a lot of creative control and they're like, whatever you like, whatever works and feels right for you, you do it. And that's their way of communicating the same thing, removing obstacles. I know you had to kind of work for that, but that's like the way that our mindset and our frame follows us and enables us to, whether we're intentional about it or not, have these sort of manifestation things that now it's like that follows you. It's like you track like multimillionaires and they all have the same mindset. They all think the same. They all have some of the same habits, but a lot of it is mindset. And it's the ability to allow your, your wealth to basically be directed not by the externals of the market and the world and the jobs and all the other things that they see as just excuses or tools, but you're in complete control
It's
of that.
another way to jump line.
Yeah,
Hang out with
you
millionaires.
assume the autonomy of your own
right.
business. And we talk about this a lot of like, if you're an artist, and I say this to young artists, especially brand new ones who have just been signed on a deal, is like, you're a business. You need to treat yourself as a business. You have to take control of your own and ownership of your artistry, because if you don't, somebody else will, and it may not last as long as if you do that yourself.
Well, you also just can't sustain like. So throughout COVID, I started posting on TikTok and Instagram and ended up
Yes, we
having
have
a
to talk about
song
this.
go viral.
Was that one Drunk 2?
So Drunk 2 did like what I thought was viral at the time. It was the song like I had written about a situation and posted about it and people really related to it. And so I posted the second verse, and the second verse was what really connected with people. And I had written hundreds of songs, recorded songs, been living in Nashville at the time. I was home for like COVID stuff because it was like 2021 or something like that. And I had no plans of releasing anything just because I hadn't taken that step. But then once this song was connecting with people, I was like, well, I guess that's as good a reason as any.
Yeah.
So I released the song. I did not like that when people looked up my name, all that came up was Drunk 2. So I was like, this is not good.
You have to understand the song to know that it's not about you being drunk.
It's not about being drunk.
Yeah,
it's about,
but-
this. I mean, short story of the song is, it's a very short song. You can listen to it pretty quick. But it's basically like you and this guy have confessed your feelings for each other. And the next morning he's like, hey, I was just drunk. And you're like, oh, well, yeah, I was drunk too. But obviously you weren't. So I didn't like that. And I was like, this song is very emotional. I don't really write a ton of songs like this. Like, this isn't really my brand. I was like, I have to fix this. So I wrote a song that had like big guitars and was fun. It was about me driving my car. I know nothing about cars, but for some reason I'm obsessed with my 4Runner. And I was like, I'm going to write about it.
And now your whole audience knows, and they talk about it all the time still to this day, is your white Toyota.
White Toyota,
Love
right
it.
out there.
Love it.
But, and I posted this song, and thank God, like, it did better than Drunk 2, and I released it, and, all of a sudden had labels calling me and publishing offers, and these things that I had dreamed about and also was kind of scared of, and had been in town long enough to hear all the horror stories, but was kind of facing them and trying to like feel my way through that. So I found a publishing company and a record label that I really believed in, and they really believed in me. And the head of the label actually is in New York. His name is Barry Weiss, and he signed Britney Spears, and like has been a big like player for younger females.
Huge name in
music.
That's
he's
cool.
a legend. So the fact that he was believing in me, and I remember we were at a dinner one time when he was like, we were kind of in like the courting system of like feeling it out, seeing if I liked them, if they liked me. And I remember he was complaining about one of the artists on the roster. And he was like, if she would just give us anything commercial, we could blow it up and make it a number one. And he's like, but that's not what she wants to create, and I'm not going to make her. And I was like, I want to sign there.
Yeah.
Like, that's so, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, like, I want a number one. But
Of course. But you want someone to let you do what you want to do more
it was
than
cool to me that he wanted her to be her more than he wanted the win on paper, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I signed there.
Which is
It's Records.
Records,
And
which
they
is an
have, like,
offshoot of Sony.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's connected with Sony. And then my publishing company is Boom, which Joe Fisher is one of the heads over there, but he's also an A&R rep with the label. So it's nice because everything's connected just enough while still being separated. But he understands when I don't write a song for 4 weeks because I'm on tour. He knows exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah.
He's not scared.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's nice.
Yeah.
But
And while you're in publishing, like some people who have pub deals, their entire job is to write songs 24/7.
Yeah.
yes.
And all the time.
yes.
But when you're an artist who's writing primarily for yourself, there's this whole other dynamic at play where you have to write when you're home.
Yeah.
But your job is to write for yourself mostly.
Yeah.
And so you're trying to write the hits for you to actually be out there performing.
Exactly. And like also leave room to like live life and like have things to write about too, because nobody really wants to hear a song about like being on tour.
Road again.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one and that one
I mean, that was a good song. I wish I'd written that one, you know what I'm saying?
God, me too.
Hey, speaking of drunk, we have a game we'd like to play with you.
Oh, okay. Is it a drinking game?
No, we thought about it.
It could be, but it's
going to
not.
be eventually. So, speaking of authenticity and finding yourself and finding everything, much in my own way, right? Doing music my whole life, whatever, trying everything, anything. It wasn't until, in the most recent, past 5 years, that I started to tap deeper into the overall me.
Yeah.
Part of it is around a martini. I love martinis. The only thing I drink, that and wine, okay? Now, me growing up little Southern Baptist Jason, singing in churches a lot of times, I wasn't really ever able to talk about liking martinis.
Right.
And so still sometimes to this day, when I'll post a picture or like I'll be, I don't know, something, whatever, and I have like a glass of wine in my hand and I'll see it on social media, I'll be like, ooh, who's looking at you? You know, it's like this like suppressed like negativity that's there from like early church days. But point is, I love a martini, okay?
It is what it is.
I sing songs like Sinatra, and so it goes with it. So here's one of our games. You ready to play it?
I'm ready.
So we're going to shake it up. I've got names of artists. Look at her eyes. Look at her
I'm
eyes.
like, there's shaking going on.
It's paper.
She has
inside. It's not liquor.
She has names of songs. You're gonna pull an artist out, and you gotta pull a song out, and you gotta sing the song like the artist.
Oh no!
Your best
I
impersonation.
will
You
try
ready?
my best. I'll tell y'all, I'm no
Tell us.
impersonator.
I'm not either, but tell us who you get.
Okay.
Especially after
Blake Shelton.
Okay.
At least this country. After this whole conversation about authenticity, it's like sing like this person.
Sing like this person.
I know.
Camptown Races.
Do you know that song?
I don't.
Camptown races, sing this song.
Doo-dah,
Doo-dah. Doo-dah.
If that's how
Do
much
you
I
want
can
another
sing, that's
song?
perfect.
Oh,
Do you want another song? You can have another one. Here, pull
I
one
can't
more.
do that much. I can't do all that. Hold on.
I don't think I would have ever
Stephen
known the
Foster.
name of that song was. I
One
think
of
I
the
would have
most
been
prolific-
Doodah. Is it called Doodah?
No, it's called one of the most prolific songwriters of all time.
Halo.
Oh, there we
Halo.
go.
That's a good
Blake
combo.
Shelton doing
Okay.
Halo. We like it. No pressure.
I know. I'm like, she's got the beat going. Okay. Blake Shelton. I'm like trying to,
Do we need
Channel
think
some
of
Blake.
Blake.
Yeah.
I mean, just super country, pretty much, right? All right.
Super country.
I can see your halo, halo. I can see your halo, halo. And honestly, that's all the song I can remember.
That's the chorus. I'm trying to think how the chorus starts.
That's all I know
That's
either.
pretty much all.
That's awesome.
It was good.
That was fantastic.
good.
There you go.
Love
Well, that's fun.
it. You take that one.
Oh yeah, that's the song.
Yeah.
Goes
It's
back in
funny
here.
when
Very
songs are
nice.
just thrown at you, how much you realize you actually don't know the
Don't
song
know
that
the
much.
song. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially I find that singers typically don't know the songs. It's people who don't sing that just love singing.
Oh, yeah.
And they sit in their
Yeah.
car and they're at home, whatever, and they know every word to every song.
It's
right?
because I think as a singer, I can do the whole where it looks like you're singing along and doing
sure.
it, but you're definitely
Yeah,
not.
exactly.
I think it's like I've learned that too well to where I stopped learning songs. Oh, no.
Yeah,
she
Crazy
goes,
Run.
"Thing."
That's a good run.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's nice.
Well, that was fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so okay, I want to. We've circled around this. I want to like
Yes.
target it a little bit directly. You did get to a point where, with your relationship with your label, I remember you telling me this one time that they basically were like, "Man, it seems like you know your fans better than we do, so go for it."
Yeah.
And that was after some not tension necessarily, but just some navigating of like, I want
Yeah.
to do this, but I'm kind of being, it's hard. And it's your first record deal. And I see this a lot with artists that it's like, you don't want to lose the deal. You don't want to make everybody mad and have them drop you. So you're trying to play this game of pleasing everybody. And there's a lot of people on a team that are telling you, this is your top priority. You know, this is your top priority. You got to make sure you're doing this.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to have autonomy and ownership of your craft. And somehow you've cracked the code as a young, newer signed artist. You're 2 years or so into a deal.
Yeah.
Your first
Yeah,
deal,
yeah.
which is still new. And yet you've been able to do something that very, very, very few artists do at this stage of the game, which is start to have better control over your art and what you put out.
Yeah.
And it's successful.
Yeah.
And I would love for you to talk about that.
You know, I think when I first signed, so Just Drive had just come out. It came out in August. I signed my deal in October. So
And by October, how many streams did you have, like on Spotify at that point?
I don't even know, but it did 1 million streams on Spotify the first week, and that was kind
Wow.
of the flag that we ran around town.
Yeah.
But
I'd be screaming that
Yeah.
one.
yeah, so it was streaming like crazy. It somehow was still growing, and I didn't even know. I had never thought of a song of mine doing anything like that, and so I didn't know what was going on. But I was meeting with people, and I knew I was just naive enough to like sign with a company that I believed in, and I thought they believed in me more than looking at anything else. And I'm so glad I did that.
Yeah.
So signed, and then they wanted me to have a follow-up single. I kind of already had an idea of what that would be when Just Drive came out before I started like meeting with people. So I told them I wanted to put Better on Me out, which is a song, this sassy little song. And so I released that in, I think, December. And then after that, we were talking about putting an EP together. They took me to country radio in March. So we started radio tour in January. I was flying all over the country. I'd never taken a flight by myself before. And like all of a sudden I was flying.
Getting that Chex Mix.
Back in the day. Back in the good days.
Chex Mix.
Yep. It was crazy. I would take like a flight in the morning to one city to do a meeting, fly somewhere else for lunch, fly somewhere else for dinner, fly to a different city so we could be there for the morning show and the next morning. Like,
Yeah.
it was wild and it was so much fun. And I had all of these songs that I had written prior that I was kind of pulling from for the EP and not really writing in the moment as much and just being like, well, these are songs that I've loved and I've been playing, so maybe we just release these. So most of those are the ones I ended up releasing. Living a lot of life, but releasing songs I had written like a year probably prior. And put out that project, felt very close to that project, and then started working on the next thing. And the single did pretty good, but with like the feedback they were getting from radio, it kind of started like losing steam, and they didn't want to push too hard for something that, you know, all the program directors weren't crazy about. And so they were like, let's just pull it for now and we'll like come back with something else later. And I was like, okay. So then I went into
How
pretty
did that
hard.
make you feel?
You know, it's weird because in all of my meetings, everything was going good. It was one of the first times I learned that I am the only person in my position.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And it's really good to be aware of because I would have really great meetings and then they would get different feedback on the backside. They would have different conversations once I wasn't in the room. And nobody was trying to like lie or be rude or anything. They were just like, didn't want to hurt my feelings, or whatever they had to say didn't really affect me. It was just with the state of their station and the state of country music and what fans were asking for and leaning towards. And so I, trusted them that they were handling that, and if they could have kept it at radio, they would have. And I didn't want to like beg people to support me or my song.
Sure.
So I was like, yeah, it's fine. So I was okay, but it definitely like shook me up a little bit. But then started writing, and I think that's when I started saying, well, maybe if that's not it, then I wonder what they are looking for.
Yeah.
And kind of writing through that lens, posting through that lens, wearing clothes through that lens of like, maybe this is what they're looking for. Instead of thinking about, well, what do I want to say? Like, how do I feel? What do I feel cute in? Like, it was like, well, this is what you're probably supposed to wear. And so I did that for a little while. Definitely created some music I put out of that realm. But also, in my personal life, I had gone through a breakup from a guy I'd been dating for 6 years, like through like all of high school and everything.
6 years, 3 months?
Yeah.
8
it was a long
days. I don't remember. That's a song lyric.
Yeah, I put like the exact days in its song. It's okay. That's when I started being authentic. But I was going through a time where like, I don't know, the breakup happened, the music I put out happened, and I loved a lot of those songs, and a lot of those songs were really real too. But at some point, the stars aligned for me to have the space and the opportunity to figure out who I was in my personal life, just like for me. Like, do I work out? I don't know. I've never really thought about it. I just like, she didn't, and I haven't, but like, do I want to? Do I want to wear this? Do I want to be someone who cares about this or goes here? And I never felt the freedom to kind of reimagine my life before, because I didn't go to college where like I had a start over moment. I moved from my hometown to here, working with all of the same people, doing all of the same things, just at a bigger capacity. I never had like the reset button. And so I felt like that was me choosing that I needed that after the breakup. I felt like I had the freedom to do that. And I learned a lot about myself. I learned that, I'm a lot more outspoken than I thought I was. I have a lot of thoughts. I think a lot of things, and I love to talk about it. And I love, like, I'm okay being the big personality in the room. I'm also okay not being the big person. Like, I learned so many things.
Yeah.
And then started writing from that world. And the songs I wrote then has been the stuff I've been releasing, and it's connected so much better. And I think it's because I'm not trying as hard, so people don't have to try as hard to see what it is.
Yeah,
it's just, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But even a song I released this year that has kind of changed my life is a song called I Ain't Crazy. And it has like, I couldn't give you the exact number. I try really hard to stay away from the numbers because just, what am I going to do? Count it? But it's like 40 million views across like all social media platforms.
Amazing.
And I have like so much fun promoting it, and like
It's a good song.
I just like I make myself giggle while I'm editing it. I'm like, that was hilarious. Like, they're gonna love it.
You do. This is a fun sidebar. You edit all of your social media stuff, don't you? All by
post
yourself.
all of it.
Oh
I
my
Google
gosh.
every day since the AI Google thing came out. I Google
Is
every
that
day.
Gemini? Is that what that thing is called?
I don't know
I keep
what
seeing
she
it in the
is, but-
Olympics commercials.
She helps me. I Google every day, best time to post today, because I'm like, I'll get the latest and greatest information. And they tell me a different time every day, and I post at that time, because I'm not doing it for my health. I want to do
you're
it
doing
the
it.
best way it can be
You're a
done.
one-man show, too, which I think is pretty significant, you know?
Yeah, and I
you
mean,
do
I
that.
have
I think you and I have 25 people doing
Oh my
a
gosh.
little bit of everything.
No, I definitely have somebody who helps me. It wouldn't happen on my own whatsoever.
Yeah, that's
You know,
amazing you do that.
I
Yeah.
mean, I've really grown to, I dare say, enjoy it, but I view it as such a challenge that I think it's fun to try to figure it out because it's just so random.
Well, it's also part of the job now, as much as we don't want to talk about it.
Right.
And what I try to help even myself understand, especially artists I work with, that I usually pose the question, what's the alternative? If you're
Well-
not going to do music, what's the alternative? What would yours be?
If you had to start over and pick
If you
a
had to start over
career,
and pick a new career, what would you
I
do?
know what mine
It
is.
could be anything.
I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
At this point,
Yeah.
I'd probably get into social media marketing.
Oh, really?
Okay, well that didn't help.
I know.
For the sake of the question.
But
I wouldn't. That would be
before-
mine.
Yeah.
Before that answer, I
Was
would
there
have said
anything
like
you wanted to be as a kid besides a?
like a vet.
Okay.
Or like something.
So there we go.
Yeah.
So vet, that's an interesting one. So yes, vets are cool. They work with animals, but you gotta know there's things that vets do every day that they don't love doing.
Oh yeah.
You know, and that goes with every job. That's really the main point here. There are things that we all do in doing any vocation that just seems monotonous, boring, and not cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think in today's space, by and large, for the artist, that is doing social media.
I think it can be.
I agree.
I think so last fall I was on tour and it didn't really make sense for me to release like an EP, but I had some songs I wanted to release, some songs that like had traction in random videos or whatever, but I didn't have like a project I wanted to put them on. So I got together with my label and they allowed me to release demos. And a lot of like songwriting sessions now have a track guy, track girl in the room. So you leave with a recording.
Yeah.
So basically I reached out to all of the, track guys or girl writers that were on these songs and was like, hey, could you just like polish it up a little bit and let's throw it out. So when I was on tour with Morgan Evans last October, November, and December, we released a song every week for 5 weeks in a row.
That's a lot.
But they were just demos. And I would promote that one song that one week. And the psychological pressure it took off of releasing songs and promoting songs, I am so thankful for because it was like, yeah, if you don't like this one, cool, you'll hear about it this week, and then you'll hear about something completely different next week. And if you don't like either of those, you can go back and listen to the one from that week.
Yeah.
And I'll release these 5 songs, and eventually I'll release something else. Like,
If you don't like any of it, nice knowing you.
right.
Yeah.
But I posted every day because I only had 5 days really in between the song releases. Because then the song would come out, I'd post the cover art, and then the next day I'd post like a video, and then I was on to the next one.
Yep.
And so I was posting daily, and I did that for the 5 weeks. And then I was on the road. I had so much time that I was like, I wonder if I could keep this up. So to this day, besides, I would say under 10 days, from October to today, I probably posted every day on social media, on TikTok and Instagram, and not like just some, quote on a background. It's like edited videos, professional quality, or things that my casual posts like that I've really thought through. And it's because I've chosen to be proud of it and to make it something that I want to be proud of. And
That's good.
I fully believe with even the selfies of like with no makeup, there is a purpose for it in my mind. And I'm like, to me, this is to show people that I am a human. And that if you come up and ask me what I had for lunch, I'm going to tell you something because I had lunch. Like, I go to the grocery store or whatever. Or if every video I edit for like the songs, I fully believe that could be the video that changes my life. And I put in the amount of time and effort like it could. And it makes it exciting.
Yeah.
And I've been lucky enough to taste the juice or whatever enough to where I had it
choose a
change
different
my
word.
life. Yeah, whatever.
Fruit.
Fruit.
The fruit of it.
There we go.
Fruit.
The fruits. Enough to know that like sometimes it does.
Yeah.
And I wish I could tell that to every artist that is having like a hard time leaning into it.
Yeah.
It's like, I know you haven't had the fruit yet, but
The juice is worth the squeeze.
exactly, Shelby. Exactly.
Hey.
If I could tell them it, I would. But it's like when it works, it changes everything.
Yeah.
And also like the connection you get with fans through that is so much more tangible and real, and they feel it and you feel it more than them just hearing your song on the radio. Like they're seeing your face, they're hearing your thoughts, they're seeing you walk, they're seeing your hands move. Like,
And they can talk back to you.
and they can
you
talk back to you, and you can talk back to them. It like creates this one-way communication that we normally have with music. It turns it into 2 lanes.
Yeah.
And it's like, that is so, like then getting on tour and seeing these people, it's like, this is their Friday night. Like they've planned this outfit for 2 weeks. They bought these tickets a month ago.
Yeah.
Like, they probably had the worst week, and this show is getting them through it.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the same girl who's commenting and liking your Instagram post. Like,
Yeah.
they're real people. And it's so easy to lose touch with that. But when you view it through that, you don't really mind making a video. Because it's like, I'm not making it to check off the box. I'm making it for, you know, Hannah, who can't come to one of my shows because I've never toured in her area. So this is how she sees me. This is how she connects with me.
Wow.
And you said something I don't think I've ever heard anybody say was, I
amazing.
fully believe that this video could change my life or change somebody else's, you know? And
True.
like, I post all the time, but I don't know that I've even thought about it from that lens. And I love that because it makes it go deeper.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what the original question that I kind of asked in this was like, how has, you know, you got to this point where you were able to, your label's kind of like, you seem to know your audience better than we do. You just go ahead and do it. Run until we say stop kind of thing. And it's because of all of that. It's because you get that.
It gives humanity a meaning to the mundane.
Right.
Yeah.
And most everyone, self-included, I see posting a lot of times anything on social media as mundane.
Right.
It's like, I got to do it. Like you said, check the boxes, make sure I get these posts out this week, whatever. But you've just described how to make it really personal and human and connected to anyone and everyone out there, and really just kind of made a fun way to do it. That, to me, was the whole point of today's podcast. What you just said in those past 2 minutes, we're going to package that up in some little clips because it's every human, every artist, every social media creator out there needs to hear how you said that because it's really, really special.
Yeah.
And I can tell that you found a way to take the pressure off yourself and just have fun doing the life you want.
Yeah. Well,
that involves this, right?
It's the only way to do it. Like,
Right.
it will run you down.
It will.
But it's like,
It'll drive you crazy and make you want to check yourself into some type of institution.
yeah, or feel like, what is it? Like, what is it for? What is it worth? And I mean, I did this post last week that blew my mind. It was something that I was like, what's something I've never done? Like, haven't posted this song in a while. Like, I have basically one day a week I'll sit down and like think of the post for the next week or whatever. And I was like, I haven't posted about that in a while. I probably should. And I don't know what to wear for this festival. I was like, maybe I'll just like post 3 outfits and like see if they could tell me or something. And it got about the same likes as everything else, but I normally get like anywhere from like 60 to 100 comments on my normal posts. Like not like songs I'm promoting, being strategic, whatever. It got 900 comments.
Whoa.
I was one of them.
Shelby
I picked
was on
outfit number 1.
I know, I didn't win. Sorry. But
Outfit number 3 was my second.
it was cute with the boots.
Yeah.
But
I love that post.
I
People were like
couldn't-
sharing their opinion. Number 3, number 2.
and they were telling me why and like
Yeah. Of course
they were.
options.
Yeah.
Of course they were.
But what was so crazy to me is it was not random. Like, you know, the accounts. You look at them and you're like, that's a little spooky. Like, maybe we should make you not be able to DM anybody. Like, but it was all girls that looked like I would go get my nails done with them.
Yeah.
Like, and it's so cute. Like,
That's fun.
adorable. And they were telling me what to do, and I was like, honestly, I trust you. I want to know what you think about this. And it was like, these are the people that maybe they don't always comment, maybe they don't always like, but they see stuff.
They're aware.
Oh yeah, they're there.
And-
they're out there lurking.
And it was kind of a light of like, this is who you talk to. This is who you see.
Bingo.
Yeah.
It connected you deeper to them.
Yeah.
And they're connected deeper to you.
Right.
Exactly what needed to happen in that moment.
then you
And
go
that's
to
why
any
you're
of those
growing so
cities,
much.
And they
Yeah.
come and see you.
Yeah,
And
that's
so you have like
amazing.
actual connections. And I think it's just so easy to forget it.
I love
It really
that.
is.
But
Erin, do you have anything coming up as we're landing the plane that you want to tell us about? Like, what's coming up on the horizon that you're excited about?
well, I wish I could give you like an EP release date or something like that, but honestly, I don't know what's going on, so it's hard to give any information.
Same.
Have you written a song lately that you're like, banger, going on the next one?
You know, I do have some songs I'm really excited about, and I've been posting about those, like teasing them. It's kind of, I feel a little bit bad because I'm like, I have no idea what's happening with these, but hopefully you like it, and hopefully
But that's
you
what
still
you've
like
done
it
in
when
the
it comes
past and how
out.
you've been able to release songs.
This is true. So
it's
hopefully
worked
the
for you.
pattern will repeat because that would be really convenient. But I have some shows this fall. I have a Nashville show in September.
Oh, you do?
I think it's September either 6th or 7th, but it's whatever that Saturday is. So that's the Nashville Dance Fest.
Oh, right on.
Come on and boot scoop boogie.
Nice.
To my music.
Where is that?
That's
Exactly.
a really good question. I know it's in Nashville.
People can
And I know
Google
you're
the
going
things.
across the pond.
Yes, in December, I'm doing a European tour
Amazing.
with Restless Road.
So
and I'm
That's
so
awesome.
excited because we're all doing a double-decker tour bus situation,
Yeah.
which I've never gotten to do that with my band.
Ooh.
So I one time by myself got to ride a tour bus. I was like opening solo acoustic for an a cappella band. But now we're all going to be on there together with them. And
Let them upgrade you.
for real, I was like, oh, shoot. They're like, would you mind? I'm like, would I mind? Like, yes. So that's going to be really fun. Go to like a lot of countries I've never been to. And
So cool.
so that'll be fun. And then, I mean, honestly, I'll be posting tomorrow and the next day and the day after that and all the ones after that.
And we can find you where on TikTok and Instagram?
It's at Erin Kinsey TX.
Text
We'll
this.
have that all
Yep.
posted on the things. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much for
Fantastic.
coming.
Thank you for having
Yeah,
me.
it's been
Let
such a
me
good
just,
conversation.
Like, be a little passionate little girl.
Yeah, we love it.
Feeling
Come back
cute.
anytime.
Feel cute.
Won't delete later.
Yeah.
No.
Till next time, I'm Jason.
And I'm Shelby. And thanks for joining us.
Yeah, bye. Thanks for tuning in to the Vocal Lab podcast. Ready to join the top ranks of the music industry? Don't forget to follow and subscribe for more first-class conversations that make the extraordinary your new ordinary. Until next time, keep striving for your top note.